good
That
prop.
official record.
It is official
Also
record.
better bring them, make sure they get it back. Make sure they get it back.
Okay, so this is the official countdown, 92 to 8, which is a pretty good tally for our lands resources bill, and something that I'm very proud of the work that has gone into this package of 100+ bills, efforts from at least 50 different senators, over 90 senators that have joined as co-sponsors. This is not only lands, this is water, this is sportsmen's, this is conservation, this is about developing local economies. This is about who we are as a country. Those of us, looks like most of us are from Western states here. Isn't that interesting? Oh, yeah,
He's got the west
Western
part.
states. Yeah, he's got the West Virginia, but
I'm still learning.
but a recognition that with so much of our public lands, that many of the issues that people would think are very local and very parochial actually require an act of Congress. So the work that has gone into this over years is recognized today. I want to thank the partnerships that I have had in this. As I've chaired the committee, Senator Cantwell working with me aggressively for 2 years there as the ranking member with her great staff and her team, and then Senator Manchin behind me coming in. We're giving him a hard time saying that he swoops in at the last minute.
I wonder what took him so long.
Yeah, it's all good, but we're all part of a team, and Senator Wyden, as former chair of the committee, all of his contributions, the support that we have received from so many who have been working to advance various pieces of the bill, whether it's what Senator Daines or Senator Gardner have been working on, Senator Heinrich in New Mexico. It has truly been a collaborative effort. I want to publicly recognize, though, the work of the staffs behind this. I think it's not appreciated often, the technical aspects of what goes into these little lands bills. And I want to do a particular shout out to Lucy Murfitt and Kelly Donnelly. I would never want your jobs, so just saying. But they have been extraordinarily helpful and working with colleagues on the other side. So it's a good victory today for us here in the Senate. Next step, of course, is to send it over to the House. We're looking forward to them taking it up quickly and hopefully without a great deal of fuss, and being able to have this signed into law by the President. But it's a good day here in the Senate, demonstrating real bipartnership work. So let me turn to my colleague, Senator Manchin.
Very quickly, let me just say that it's a pleasure to be coming on to this position as ranking member and working with Lisa and what Maria has established and what has been done, and Ron before them. And it's all about the staff. It really is. You got David and Sam and some of the old guards here have been working together. But you have to build trust. To get 92 votes, there has to be a trust, and it has to be basic authenticity, but the trust that you build between the staff and the members. And once that's done, and there's a fairness of back and forth in a bill this long and this big and this inclusive, it has to be something that everyone has a little bit of a hand in. Everybody gets a little bit of something. And those who we didn't get everything in, I tell you, we're going to work hard. This is the permanent reauthorization of LWCF, which literally carried the water, figuratively speaking. We now need to make sure we get permanent funding. And that's what our next big lift is going to be, to make sure that's done. But with that, I'm just so proud to be part of the team. Our team now, we're getting up to speed and learning a little bit. Coming from the eastern part of the United States, not knowing all the ins and outs of the western lands, finding out quick, there's an awful lot of interest out there for many reasons. So I'm learning, and again, it's been a privilege. And I'm going to turn this over now to, I think it's Ron, and then Maria.
And I'm going to be really short, and I especially want to give a shout out to Chair Murkowski and Senator Cantwell, because as a former chair of this committee, I can tell you a package like this that is so complicated does not come together by osmosis. It happens because you have exceptional leadership like Chair Murkowski and Senator Cantwell. And of course, I've been sitting next to Senator Heinrich for years now on the committee, and you really see all over this bill his creativity and his innovation. And I just want to make two quick comments. One, the big change since I was chair, and I think you're going to see an increased focus on, is the fact that recreation is now a major economic engine for our country. It is a huge multiplier, particularly in the rural West. And one of the reasons that you see so many people on both sides of the aisle gravitate to these pieces of legislation is that now we can go home and we can say whether you're a guide, whether you're a kayaker, whether you run a craft brewery, whether you're involved in infrastructure, this all comes together behind a good public lands package. And the last point that I would say is the flip side of recreation. It's what I talked about on the floor when I talked about our late great governor, Tom McCall, is livability. At a time when so much of America on a daily basis is waiting in traffic jams. Senator Cantwell and I, in our part of the world, people are driving an hour to get to work where you used to be able to do it in 15 minutes. So if you've had a daily dose of that in the West, what you want to do is get outdoors. You want to get outdoors and you want to enjoy public places. And the final point I'll make is, Tom McCall said it, is protecting your public places is not a partisan proposition. It's something that brings people together. I want to really congratulate our chair and our ranking member, Senator Manchin. We tease, I don't know how you get to kind of fly in after everybody's done the work and you're sitting there and you're the ranking member, but that's Joe Manchin. He's just, he was just born lucky. So a lot of effort went into this, and I want to congratulate my colleagues.
Thank you. Well, it's great to be here with my colleagues, Senator Murkowski, with my colleagues, Senator Daines and Gardner, who are on the committee, and obviously Joe Manchin, who has taken over and will be in steadfast hands, and my colleague from New Mexico, who literally has played an incredible leadership role. If there's ever a second the committee doesn't understand the heart and soul of public lands, I guarantee you Senator Heinrich is right there to remind them. I want to thank Senator Murkowski for incredible leadership. It's hard, I think, sometimes to talk about public lands when you represent the land mass of Alaska. And so some of these issues may be lost on all Alaskans, why we need the Land and Water Conservation Fund, but Senator Murkowski understood that. And so I thank her for her leadership in willingness to, both in the energy package that we had passed out of the Senate and then in this lands package, include permanent reauthorization of the Land and Water Conservation Fund in that. So I thank her for her commitment. I also want to thank Senator Burr, who's not with us, for his commitment. I think him constantly reminding us why we needed to get this done was important. So today is a very important day for public lands. It shows that there are bipartisan spirits alive in the United States Senate to support access for hunting, fishing, and recreating to our public lands. This package, with over 1.3 million new acres of wilderness, 600,000 acres of wild and scenic rivers, thousands of acres of mineral withdrawals, show that our colleagues do know how to continue to make a priority for the public interest in giving more outdoor opportunities. I want to also thank our colleagues in the House, Congressman Grijalva and Congressman Bishop. The four of us working together at times, I think we definitely saw the world differently, but tried to work together, and in the end found good partners who felt the same way about the public resource. My colleague from Oregon said it best, that access to the outdoors really is a big economic juggernaut. And it really did help in showing that there were jobs and job creation behind this. So I want to also say that we're taking an important step forward on water in this bill, both in my colleague from Oregon on the Klamath Basin project and in my state, Yakima Basin project. in that our lives are only, we already saw with fire, going to become more challenging, and certainly with water, they're going to become more challenging. So the more that people can bring ideas to the United States Congress, the House and Senate, that are people working together instead of trying to divide the resource, but working together to figure out the best conservation ideas and the best strategies for water, I think the more we're going to respond as a Congress. So I just say congratulations to all my colleagues back here because of their perseverance. There's not one of these issues, I happen to say to our colleague from Texas on the floor, none of these issues ever are easy. They take lots of legal analysis, lots of talking to local communities, lots of holding up the input from various people. So I too want to thank the staff, both David Brooks and Sam Fowler and our side, and Mary Louise Wagner, who isn't with us, and will echo what the senator said about Lucy and Kelly. Thank you guys so much for that. I can't tell you how much legal analysis goes into lands deals and things like reverter clauses and all those interesting ideas. Okay, I'll turn it over to Corey.
Thank you. Well, thank you to Senator Murkowski, Senator Cantwell for their incredible work and leadership in the lands bill. It's been said before that our public lands represent places where we plan, hope, think, rest. They're places that give us inspiration. They're places that we escape to. They're places that give us a sense of who we are as Americans. In Colorado, public lands represent an enormous portion of our economy. Over $20 billion of economic activity, hundreds of thousands of jobs. Our public lands are who we are in Colorado. This bill today celebrates a milestone. It truly is a seismic accomplishment, not just because you have seismic activity in the legislation, but because of the work that it represents, passing with 92 votes to show the broad bipartisan support for our public lands. Reauthorizing the Land and Water Conservation Fund, the crown jewel of our conservation programs. For Colorado, we expand the Florissant National Monument. We're able to protect additional acreage with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. 250,000 acres of Colorado are inaccessible because of private lands surrounding them. LWCF will allow us to have access to these parcels. We talk about whether a study in it will consider whether or not Amache, Colorado, will be included as part of the national park system. This area is home to the Japanese-American internment site during World War II to commemorate a very dark period in our history so that we will never repeat those kinds of heinous activities again. This is a celebration of our public lands, of the American people. It represents the best of who we are, and I congratulate Senator Dane, Senator Heinrich, and of course the leadership of the Energy Committee for making this happen.
Thank you.
If you were just sitting in the gallery, you'd notice that every few months legislation breaks out around here. Bipartisan legislation at that. And if you look back at the last year, you'd see the Farm Bill and criminal justice reform, and now this incredible natural resource package. And you wouldn't realize the amazing leadership from our leaders and all our colleagues who've been here today that made that happen. It is literally, this legislation is years in the making, and many of the individual projects are decades in the making. And as Senator Gardner said, it's about identity. Public lands are an enormous part of who we are in the West, and that's true around the country, not just in the West. It's about economy, outdoor recreation, public lands, all the different things, the hunting and fishing, all the economic activities that happen on those lands are a giant part of our economy in this country. And it's about heritage. It's about leaving this country and these places that we love a little better off for the next generation. So I want to thank Taryn and Maya on my staff. I want to thank my colleagues. This is a huge team effort, and it's not every day you're going to see one of these. 92 to 8. That's pretty amazing.
Thank you. Steve?
I don't think anybody would have thought we'd be standing here today, February 12th, with a 92 to 8 vote. But it took public lands to bring divided government together. I think it's a testimony to who we are as Americans, the value we place on our public lands. I think about where I grew up in Montana, kindergarten through college there, that our public lands is a place where all Montanans can access. In fact, it's still a place where grandma and grandpa or mom or dad, an aunt and uncle can take a grandson or a granddaughter or a niece or a nephew down to Walmart and buy an elk tag over the counter, and within literally 15 minutes be somewhere where you could be hunting elk. That's unique to America. It sets us apart. And what we've put together here, and I continue the accolades with the leadership on the committee, with the Chairman Murkowski, Ranking Member Cantwell, working with us all, 120 plus bills. The cumulative number of years that have gone into all the preparation of these bills, putting them together then into a package, it's literally hundreds of years of effort that just got moved to the U.S. Senate here. Yeah, we all feel older here. We just moved that through, and now we're going to take this fight to the U.S. House and hope that it will move through quickly, which we think we have a path forward there. But I also want to thank Senator Heinrich, our informal whip counting, text messaging late at night, saying, "Martin, how's it looking on your side?" He'd give me a quick update. He'd ask me, "How's it looking on your side, Steve?" I'd give him a quick update. Just working together, and that's what the American people expect us to do. And for a place like Montana, two highlights of this package. One certainly is the Land and Water Conservation Fund. Why is that important to a place like Montana and these states out west? Because in Montana we have 2 million acres of public lands that are inaccessible to the public because they're landlocked. Corey talked about the issue in Colorado. It's true in all of our states. And the Land and Water Conservation Fund is a tool that can help us get access to these public lands that the public can't access. Why? Because the checkerboard ownership structure of many of our western states allows us to work through these complex issues. That's why permanent reauthorization is so important, because oftentimes it takes years to deliver and execute these land access issues to get to our public lands. Second is the Yellowstone Gateway Protection Act. Right in the back door of Yellowstone National Park is a very, very special place right around Chico Hot Springs. I literally, when I was a kid, took my homecoming date in the Griswold station wagon to Chico Hot Springs. And that's where we had dinner. If you would have seen the brown tux and the wide lapels, and that is where dinner was held. And it's a place that was special to our family since I was in grade school. And now that area will be protected such that this very, very special place here that feeds right into the Yellowstone River, one of my favorite places to fly fish, will have protections for generations to come. So this is a great moment for our country. It's a great moment for Montana, and it's nice to see something that pulls this city and this country together.
Well said. Thank you. Any questions? You can tell we love this package. All right.
I have a question. Hi, Kelly Lunny from E&E News. Congratulations. I know it was a long time in the making. Senator Manchin mentioned permanent funding, mandatory funding. I know that's something that a lot of people support within LWCF, but a lot of people don't support it. So where do you go on that issue moving forward?
I think, in fairness, I think that may be something that you see coming out of the House. And it was clear that there was a divide here in the Senate on the mandatory funding side. We certainly saw that reflected in the Energy Committee itself when the LWCF provision moved out. So I don't think that issue is done and over, but it is an ongoing matter. But I think most felt that the most pressing thing was to deal with the reauthorization and make that a permanent authorization of LWCF. Okay. Thank you all.
Now come out and
Appreciate
visit us.
it. Yeah. We sold all of our great, sold it in the
want a
sense
good
that
story.
great recreation. So thank you all. Thank you.
Good job, Lisa.
All right.
Well done.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank you.
Maria, good job. Good job. Thanks.
Yeah, here.